Yeah, not terribly sure what was going on with the bot permissions there, but apparently I tried relaunching it. Didn't do the announcement the first time, so I tried doing that, and it also gave me the same error as before, so yes, I better just do it myself to show that I am indeed alive for a briefish amount of time. Today, tonight. It's not quite tonight, unless it is. Well, it probably will be tonight in relative terms, in like a couple of minutes. From my perspective, at least, I feel like. Probably you could say that the standard for when the night begins, in a wide sense, could probably be argued to be 7 PM, but I don't know. I feel like 6 is a grey area because that's like I feel like 6 AM is usually considered the standard for when like the morning begins, as in the morning that involves the sun being visible, but I suppose that's also very old depending on geographical factors, but I don't know. But yeah, all of this is very, very relevant to the stuff that I intend to do right now, as I'm sure you might imagine. But yes, hello everyone. Hello Hacker, hello Bern, hello Redbear, who for some reason did not show up on this other window that I have. I have like a couple of ways to look at the Twitch chat, and for some reason this one here didn't show the Redbear message, but this other one here did. You know, go figure. Also, oh yeah, gotta make sure that the authenticator is actually turned on, and it looks like it is, so that's nice. So, but yeah, because I can only do like a couple hours, or maybe a tiny bit more of stream right now, because I got something else a bit later down the line tonight, I figured I might as well let's do another one of these little retro grabbag streams. I suppose I've been getting into the sort of kind of habit of actually doing recently. That's because it's like an easy thing that I pretty much have prepared because I've been doing them. And, I mean, by nature, we're not going to be looking at any of the particular games for a particularly long amount of time, so it shouldn't be too awkward to try and bring that to a close whenever the time comes, so pretty convenient setup, I would say. But right now, I suppose I might as well, you know, act on that by actually bringing the thing into view to figure out which of these games... Oh wait, what? Which of these games I'm actually gonna be playing first. Oh, okay, there he goes. So, yeah, this window was like completely blank for a second there. Didn't know what was up with that, so we just like kind of lagged out due to being in the background. I also like adjusted my mic settings slightly, I think. It was probably a little bit... I don't know, I felt like it was probably a little bit quiet the last couple of these that I did. So I gave myself like a very, very marginal decibel boost. Wonder if that'll help. Wonder how much that help is actually needed, but I suppose it would be more helpful if I, like, you know, actually did the thing where I spoke more slowly and tried to enunciate a bit more, but that might have varied effects, I find, depending on the context and how it comes out. But speaking of not knowing how something is going to result, let's spin the wheel and see what we got. I think the list should be updated, and if it somehow isn't, and it picks something that shouldn't, then I can just do the thing and say that. Oh boy. But now that very much has not been chosen previously, and shall now be the first thing to be demoed there. Kurushi, aka Intelligent Qube, which I'm pretty sure was the only... Wait a minute, I didn't have to actually minimize this window. I have to make it visible there, but not minimize it, or else that thing is not gonna be visible. But so I'm actually not terribly... not the most knowledgeable person on the nature of Kurushi, but I think that's the original name, and yet in international releases it was renamed to IQ, Intelligent Qube, which is what we will probably be finding it as here. It's probably going to show up in my RetroArch history at some point, because I'm pretty sure I did test it. And I can, as you might have noticed, close to the bottom of the screen there, I did add a what game I am playing now source. I guess I can go ahead and actually change that. To reflect the decision that has been made. I suppose I can also, put that on a different row so it doesn't doesn't fail to display properly. And I'm gonna, yeah, take it out of the like corner of the screen there. You might have noticed that I removed one of the background images, namely that one, because it doesn't really fit in with the look that I'm going, especially if I'm gonna have that thing there for this particular display. But let's see, yeah, Intelligent Qube is down here, so I'm going to assume that I can just run it and it'll work okay. Do need to adjust the window size for this a little bit, let me see. I hope that's a good one. I think that is in fact a good one. So let me go ahead and fade out the OT boss battle from Hyrule Warriors, and okay, it just displays the game. There's no like nothing awkward about that. Yes, I can also expand the yeah, the text here to be a bit more visible without really overlapping with anything else. But yeah, this is Kurushi aka IQ Intelligent Qube, as I had mentioned, and to my understanding, because I'm pretty sure I barely touched this, even as a make sure it works demo kind of thing. It's a puzzle game where lots of cubes do lots of things. And it's trademark of Sony Computer Entertainment, at least this releases, I suppose. I wonder what you might say about the other ones, and also I'm pretty sure. Hold on a moment. Pressing buttons. Nothing's really happening, so I think RetroArch is doing the meme that it sometimes does, where you have to actually change the input type of controller from whatever it has to an actual PlayStation 1, because for some reason it doesn't yeah, it doesn't detect the RetroArch default, but it does if you change it to that. So we can check the rules, the options. We can check the options before we start the clock at least. To mark, to capture, to bomb, to accelerate. Okay. Better keep that in mind. Okay, you can at least fast forward through those texts appearing. Game mode could be what? System normal, level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this is the default. I have not changed anything here so far, so. Select doesn't seem to do anything. Nothing that I really changed seems to do anything in that selection, only in level, but we're just gonna leave it as I found it. Ranking. Who has played this game before? Dylan, Susan M, Nodai, Chris, Taku E, John R, Juan M. I want to say that Taku E sounds kind of familiar, and that might be the person who did the soundtrack. I should check real quick. I should be able to do that. Let me see. Of course, the question is, in my own soundtrack albums that I have on here, does it show up as Kurushi or as IQ? Probably shows up as IQ because I'm not seeing it here. Under K. Yeah. It's apparently... no, never mind. Apparently the composer is Takayuki Hattori for this game. So not whoever that was, unless it's like a very bizarre nickname kind of thing, but... memory card, I'm going to assume this is fine. Slot 1, checking, no data inactive. I'll just exit. Because I'm not even sure how like memory card management and shit like that works in RetroArch. It feels like it's hard to do anything that's too detailed customizability wise on RetroArch, but let's select text rule. I guess we're just gonna leave those alone because I'm not even sure what they entail at this point. Elliot, well, there doesn't seem to be anybody else here, so I guess we're gonna be Elliot. Alright. Could check the rules as well, I suppose, because I guess if we're gonna be doing actual gameplay here, this might be a good time to start the clock. We don't end up using up all our time on this game.
Basic rules.
Oh boy.
The concept of the game is to try to capture the cubes. The player can mark a spot on the stage by pressing the X button.
Alright.
By pressing the X button again, the player can deactivate the mark. The game is played by marking a spot and then successfully deactivating the spot. Now let's try to capture a cube. First, mark the spot where a cube should be captured. When the cube is about to land on the marked spot, press the X button. The marked spot is then deactivated and the cube is captured.
Alright.
Repeat this to capture all the necessary cubes.
It doesn't have to be frame perfect or anything, at least.
If any cubes are left to fall off the stage, the number of fallen cubes will be calculated on the block scale. Every time the number of fallen cubes exceeds that of the block scale, the player loses the last row of the stage. The player must prevent the cubes from falling off the stage.
Why do the player is crushed by the cubes? I feel like that's the first thing that everyone's gonna think of in this situation.
Nice.
Hey, Sutton, what's up?
When the
Thank you
player
for
is
following.
avalanched by the cubes and falls off the stage, it's game over.
Oh shit. It's not just the cubes falling off the stage. It's the cubes falling off the
IQ
stage
is
and...
measured against the player's efficiency in capturing the cubes, as well as the total number of cubes captured.
Alright. At this point I'm not entirely sure if the... like each of these stages is, you know what, why don't I be daring and, like, literally just try to go through the game after only watching that basic demonstration.
First stage.
First stage. Oh boy. Oops. Okay, so here's a problem I do appear to have noticed, that you can only capture or handle one of these. Capture one of these squares at a time, pretty much. So you need to like move really quickly, because absolutely nothing I do is gonna stop one of the cubes from falling there. Okay. And I'm pretty sure the green cubes are, I guess, special somehow, but because I didn't watch all the rules, I'm not entirely sure how that exactly is, so... It's like, oh well, wait. Maybe the green cubes are actually bad, because it means that I can't use that space to place my own capture spaces, and that's like all it means. See, it doesn't seem like I can... Wait, what do you mean perfect? One of them fell off. Well, perfect round, not like perfect stage, I guess. But yeah, this doesn't seem too bad if you're like... just a little bit... Fuck, really? Just a little bit judicious with how you do things. Oh, shoot. Wait, what? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Guess we're going again, though. So if you must choose one type of cube to be sacrificed that you absolutely cannot deal with, let it be the green one, is what I'm getting out of this. Because the green ones are bad news. Okay, see that green one over there, that one can fall, since there's at least one of them from that particular set that is gonna be impossible to salvage at that point, so... might as well make it the one that we don't want to be salvaged, because it's inconvenient. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it's like all it said before you start the game is actually 1p, not like stage 1 or anything like that. Guessing that this is pretty much just like an arcadey kind of... Oh shit, what? Okay, I don't know what I just did, but... I pressed triangle and... that just happened. Some stuff turned red and... Oh, okay, I think my main objective for this part is gonna be to just not get crushed, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I don't know, I thought that, like, the blue bar thingy in the top left was gonna be, like, my health bar or something like that. So can I capture this black cube? Oh shit, okay. Yeah, I can, but it's bad news. Yeah, it seems like the actual loose condition is gonna be when you absolutely cannot stop yourself from falling off the edge like that. 7400. So I suppose the next step, I guess that was a demonstration of I got an IQ of 4. That seems accurate. I wonder what the maximum theoretical IQ is in this game, though. No, I don't think we will continue. I think something that would be quite handy if I did actually want to continue would be figuring out what else I did. Or I could have done with the other buttons, because I did notice that there's like a couple of other buttons that I did not understand. Maybe this narrator will be able to explain this to me. Forbidden cube.
Not all of the cubes should be captured.
Okay, so let that one, the black ones, fall on purpose.
Black cubes are called the forbidden cubes. The player must leave these cubes alone. For every forbidden cube captured, the player will lose the final row of the stage. Let the forbidden cubes pass by and fall off the stage.
Okay, so it's not about being perfect with every type of cube, like I thought it
The player
was.
can accelerate the speed of the cubes
From
by
first
pressing
impressions.
the square button.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what one of the buttons. I didn't know what it does. That's good to know. Oh, okay. Well, that's all there is about the forbidden cubes. What about the advantage cube? Because the oh shit. Maybe there's something that I actually could have done with the green cube spaces, and I
Advantage cube.
just did not realize. But I'm sure this man is about to explain it to me.
The player can use the green cubes or the advantage cubes to efficiently capture the cubes. This is an advantage cube. When the player captures an advantage cube, the spot will be marked in green.
Oh, you
By
let...
pressing the triangle button, the player can capture the surrounding cubes.
Oh,
All the
okay.
cubes in the marked area will be captured.
So that's what that did. I did not
Let's
get
try
that
to
impression
capture
at all.
cubes by using an advantage cube. Mark and capture an advantage cube.
And then just
Then
pop
capture the
triangle
surrounding
immediately.
cubes by pressing the triangle button.
Alright, I can get behind that.
Using the advantage cube, the player should be able to efficiently capture multiple cubes.
Okay, but you can
But
do
at the same time, the player must make sure that no forbidden cube is included in the marked area.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You can screw yourself over with the black cubes if you're not careful with that. Is that it? Yeah, okay. I mean, I think I got like the rest of the rules that I wasn't fully aware on with that, so I guess I'll try 1P again. Let's do a different run.
First stage.
And see how we do here. Well, okay, never mind. There it is. Oh yeah, and I even captured like more of them. It's probably a bit of a little wasteful, but whatever. And yeah, the trend of this game does seem to be that a lot of people know this game from like PlayStation demo disc stuff. Oh shit. You know, for some reason I completely failed to remember the fact that each time you activate one of these things, it activates all of them. So yeah, I think we're probably gonna do a little bit better this time. Oh boy. Better get rid of the special shit we have right now before we, goddammit, black cube comes into range of that. So, and I guess, I'll see. Let's try activating both of them and doing that and see how many are left. None of them. Big combo there. You know what game I remember from PlayStation demo discs? The actual answer to that is none of them, because I didn't even own a PlayStation back in the day, but one game that I probably would have liked to actually play in that capacity was, and I think I have played at least once on emulators in that capacity, was Orinoriori, which was the predecessor to the fan games for that game that eventually turned into Cook Serve Delicious, you know, fun fact. Oh shit. Well, I'm trying to do it again and again, but pretty sure this special cube should not be in range of the others. Okay. So here's the question. How are we gonna get the ones behind it? Well, I think we can do it with some strategy, actually. There we go. It's not too bad. I think you just have to have a high IQ for this game. that was completely perfect, even though it certainly didn't feel perfect. Oh shit, that was a waste at the end. It was technically branded as perfect, so clearly I cannot be contradicted. Oh shit. Okay. Okay, yeah. I can definitely get behind this game. Now that I'm actually aware of like how a lot of the rules work. I sure hope this is a good space to preemptively... It was a good space to preemptively place that. Don't you just love it when things work out? I was hoping to capture this one here, but I guess that didn't happen. Of course, suppose the next question would be, now that I actually know how the rules work properly, how am I gonna be able to do a run that's like greater than 20 minutes or something like that? How is that going to relate to how well I use the time that I have? Oh, okay, apparently there's a clear condition. Does that mean that there's actual separate stages? Well, it doesn't ever have to be, with how many different tracks there are in this game. What is it like an arcadey sort of progression where you can't actually save your progress and just kind of have to start from the beginning every time? Plus, we'll see. 20,000 points for the stage bonus, though. I think that's like halfway to the number one spot on the leaderboard. Oh boy, what have we got this time? Ooh. Okay, oh gosh, it's actually gonna be a little bit more difficult because I want to be very judicious with not letting any of them... any of the things trip me up. The black cubes and the rest of this. But it looks like we got it. Well, less the black cubes trip me up and just like the green cubes and the special tiles that will be behind trip me up by ending up in range of any of the black cubes. But this looks like it's gonna work out pretty okay. Just need to... need to wait for the black cubes to be like completely off the stage and then I'll clean things up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, this could have been a little bit more efficient if I had cut this one at the end here with one of the green cube things there, but just that didn't happen. I can definitely understand why this soundtrack was seen as something that stands out, because it certainly does. Okay, let's do one space, and let's... yeah, there we go. Managed to not capture... oh, jeez, okay. How the okay, I think I might have glitched out here, or just gotten really lucky with getting through one of those motions there. Oh, boy. I somehow ended up behind the cubes, which I'm pretty sure is not supposed to happen at any moment, because the gameplay doesn't really gel with that. That seems quite evident. Okay, just wait one more, and I think it should be safe to activate that one on the right. Task gets between the cubes all the time. I wonder what the purpose of that is. Oh boy. So this is gonna be interesting because I'm pretty sure the only way I'm gonna be able to I'm gonna be able to capture one on this cube now. Never mind. I should be able to get in here and lay an extra trap for that one. There we go. That worked out. Okay, just pop that one immediately. Wait one space to do that. I'm wondering, I'm guessing it's possible to, like, if you get between the cubes, you can like get between a full row of cubes and like lay a trap really quickly. I'm guessing that's why. That's the purpose of that. Of course, does that mean that I will try to do it here? Probably not. I have massive noob energy with all sorts of games that does not synergize with speedrun energy at all. So let me see, because I'm pretty sure that once these are out of the way and these are out of the way as well, these green spaces will be left in the back here. But no, never mind. Apparently when new blocks rise out of the ground like that, they do not turn into new, or they do not keep the green spaces that would have occupied that space. So that means that you can't cheap out later iterations of the, like later, oh fuck, that was unfortunate. You cannot cheap out later iterations of the blocks that are gonna come out of you after you get rid of whichever ones are currently moving by getting them out of the way ahead of time. I mean, do I feel like that would be an interesting possibility, at least? That was not perfect, I guess. I did not get that coveted perfect message that time. And I could just wait and try to aim for like the... Actually, no, I couldn't just wait. Actually, yeah, go ahead and do it now. The coveted green cubes in the back. Like, but I would have to actually, you know, carve my way to where they are first, like that. Or else I couldn't hit them unless I used the green spaces that were already down, but I feel like that's not always going to be an option, so no, even if you have some green spaces down, probably not a great idea to just be passive until the stuff in the back row gets to where it's actually in contact with that. Okay, do one. Do that. Put the thing here. But which I could deal with myself, but thank you, Bern. Well, yes, I do want to become famous and become like the world champion of Kurushi. How did you know? I want to receive the Kurushi Nobel Prize. I'm willing to pay so much money for that. I'm kind of wondering at which point it's going to consider that I've completed this stage, I guess. This point, that is kind of what I'm wondering the most. Oops, I wanted to put it there. Wait just a little bit for the black stuff to be out of there. Out of the way. There's probably a lot more efficient ways of, you know, getting through these stages than I'm doing, but... I am only a min-maxer when I can take my sweet time doing it, basically. Which is not really the case here. Kurushi guy mode, well, apparently there's multiple Kurushi guys, but if the existence of the character select screen is any indication, but no idea what the circumstances would be in trying to figure out where the other ones come into play. Oh yeah, that was perfect, wasn't it? That was absolutely flawless, was it not? I cannot believe that failed to get my attention at first. I guess I'm also actually just gonna keep on doing this for like all the time that I have left. Which is not a whole lot, but let's see if I can at least clear stage 2. I guess that'll be a good cut-off point, probably. Just to tie this up. Maybe it's about to happen. And if not, then at least let me write it. No, never mind, there it is. The rising staircase that knocks me down at the bottom level. Okay, I guess the stage bonus is entirely based on the number of rows that you have. That's a lot of rows. 36,000 added to whatever I had. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that whatever the top score was based on how much I have just finishing the first couple of levels. It's probably not so much 50,000 as much as probably is closer to 500,000, but yeah, first stage. What if I want to throw in the towel though? Resume, start over, quit, yeah. Just to see if it lets me. No, I guess it doesn't let me submit a high score or whatever. Just forgets it, but it sounded like it was terribly difficult to get up to that stage. So just one thing I want to look at least briefly, what are these numbered demos? Just demo number 1. Just before I move on to the next thing, try to figure out what this is. 5th stage. Alright, it's giving you spoilers. I'm guessing there's a theoretical maximum number of stages that you can do here. If like each one has its own appearance. Assuming that it's not just randomized, which it very well could be. Oh boy, it's someone showing off pro gameplay strats, that's what it is. Maybe, wouldn't one of those things have activated the black blocks in the front row, or in the... Well, in the row that's in the back right now, but that wasn't part of it when that happened. Yeah, I don't know, it seems kind of suspicious, I gotta tell you. I don't know if there's like some kind of weird exceptions you can have, but I think I pretty much get the gist of it, so that'll be Kurushi, which I'm pretty sure if the display that I saw at the beginning of this, which you didn't see but I saw it, is any indication this apparently does have achievement integration, but I didn't apparently didn't get any of them, except for, no, never mind, get your first perfect, I completely forgot about that. Complete all levels with all perfects and without continues. Oh boy, that would take some trying, I would imagine. You can apparently beat the game as Elliot to unlock Cynthia, so there you go, there's at least 2 characters to choose from eventually. But that has been Kurushi, aka Intelligent Qube, so let's bring back the oldie iTunes playlist for a moment, whilst I go over to the side thingy to spin the wheel again. It's a recent game that gave me Kurushi vibes as opposed to an X, although it plays entirely different, really. Yeah, I don't know if there's any recent games necessarily that I would consider that really remind me of that. Let me see. I need to also erase Kurushi from this list that you can't see and spin the wheel here one more time. Let's see what we end up with this time. I'm gonna have to edit the text here too. Oh boy, this time it's R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, so let me figure out where the current game thing is so I can actually... Surely I can fit all of this in one row and not make it look horrible. Well, maybe. I have to shrink it a little bit, but that's okay. This is very much dynamic. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, funnily enough, that R4 is technically also a game that I have not tested out with the emulator at all, but I should have it around. Let me just take a quick look at the stuff that I need to take a quick look at. Here it is. So I should at least be able to... Well, I'm gonna try this. There's apparently something called Turbo Mode Disc, but I'm assuming that that's a separate thing. What I need to do right now, though, is close this and try to see if I can just get R4 queued up without any greater incident. So it does look like at least each disc does have its own thing, and I don't think I'm gonna have to like switch discs in the middle of gameplay. I wouldn't expect that much from this game, at least. Shouldn't have to like set up anything else. Weird. I am going to want to assume that I can just do this and it'll work. There we go. So I'll just wait a few more moments for this song to fade itself out and see what's after it once we go to the limbo between games again. But right now, let's check out some Ridge Racer Type 4 on the old PSX. I would probably add more information if whatchamacallit, if I knew it off the top of my head, but I feel like I know that for very few of these games that are on this list. Hey sister. Metroid has an achievements page. Well, it does have a retro achievements integration. If you like have an account on that thing and input it into the Metroid stuff, you can get those while using the well, certain of the cores that you can play games with on Metroid. It's pretty handy if you like having that sort of thing. Oh no, slow CD image root detected, even though I can think of a single time when that actually was a problem. We're watching the demo at least. Well, this seems unrealistic. Why is this woman walking by herself in heels in a dark tunnel like this? Well, funnily enough, I don't think I remember actually hearing the words Ridge Racer in any of the songs from this game except for this one. Has it hit one has the #1 spot on there for years? I don't know, but for some reason #1 on retro achievements makes me think of something like a first person to hit max level on Newgrounds, which I think actually happened while I still looked at that site many years ago. I think I actually made it like halfway to max level on Newgrounds myself. That's pretty much what you gotta do to build experience on that side, is just like rolling 5 things every day. Which seems kinda dumb when you consider what that may or may not incentivize you to do. But alright, welcome to the world of Ridge Racer. Let me before I do anything, let me just confirm the type, the control type that I have. Yeah, that's fine. DualShock, yeah. I hope it actually is true. Well, okay, so I am able to... I'm able to move things with the D-pad, but not with the stick, so... Well, of course, when it comes to PS1 games, I feel like I generally have a very hard time figuring out which games are actually expected to work with DualShock and which ones aren't, because I feel like there's a lot of variation in there. I don't know if I'm really gonna twist adjust any of this. What is the music player adjustment here? We played Everquest. You know, funnily enough, I was talking about how I had not yet like worked out a way to freeload on Final Fantasy XI, but I think Everquest is technically one of those. Okay, so you just switch between. It's just like a sound test more than anything. Well, it has this as a background, but yeah. I think Everquest is, ironically enough, one of those MMOs that you can actually officially freeload on these days. Oh dear. Repeat. No, I think I actually want to see if I can play some of the game. So I'm going to operate in good faith. And assume that I can just go into the game and it'll probably make sense. So let's see if I can do that. What type of game mode will I choose though? Because I guess I do have to press buttons to speed through some of these menu animations. Versus Battle Garage records. I'm guessing that's like times and what have you, not anything else. Let's go to Grand Prix. Or Grand Prix. Let's see if we can race against some Grand Prix.
Welcome to the Real Racing Roots 99 Grand Prix.
Okay.
Here are the rules of competition for this Grand Prix. The Grand Prix consists of 3 stages with a total of 8 races. Stages 1 and 2 each consist of 2 races, while the final round consists of 4 races. You have 4 chances to advance through each race.
Are you sure about that?
You must finish within a qualifying position to advance through each race of the Grand Prix.
I don't know if I have a lot of faith in my own ability to do that.
Advance, you must retire from the Grand Prix. The qualifying position for each stage is as follows. You must finish third or better in each race to advance through stage 1. Second place or better in each race to advance through stage 2. And finally, a first place finish is required for all 4 races in the final round.
Well, this isn't how I was taught brackets worked. Where's losers, losers?
The first 2 stages and place first in all 4 races of the final round.
Oh god, look at those effects. I feel like I have the same problem when I use this, when I play Chrono Cross on here, though. By the way, that will probably return from the dead eventually, but... Alright. Who doesn't like XPing for a week to gain 2 levels? Reminds me of when I was playing Gauntlet Legends, which I've been doing recently by myself. I actually beat it like yesterday. And in that game, like, the only reasonable way to regain health pretty much is to do runs of the first level over and over again. So that can take a bit. So what do we got? Turning expert, easy, normal, tuning, not turning. I assume French team with cars renowned for ease of handling. Pack Racing Club. I feel like something abbreviated PRC probably wouldn't be read as Pack Racing Club by a lot of people, but I'm Elite Italian, abbreviated PRC, and using red and yellow as their main colors, but Elite Italian team with a record number of GPU victories. I'm going to assume... You know what, why the hell not? Let's go with the French stuff. I'm sure some people would approve. Bonjour, welcome to Team Maddie. Sophie Chevalier, is that what she called herself? Okay. I'll come in first, right? Can you choose a car manufacturer you want? Boy, I didn't know this was going to be this involved. I think at this point I better just start the clock, or else I'm gonna take some risks. If there's anything you need, just ask Donald Louis. I'm assuming that's supposed to be the French pronunciation, the manager. You can choose one car manufacturer out of 4 to sponsor your team, alright. Drift, grip. So drift or grip. And they're gonna be Italian, USA, Japan, or France, so the same kind of thing as before. Compact aerodynamic body styles. Let's say, let's take a chance and go with grip, I think. Terrazzi is renowned for their varied body styles. Designs are noted for their dynamic and aggressive forms. Characterized by fluid, sporty body styles. Let's go with the Japanese one. What could possibly go wrong? Car name ambitious. I guess we're sticking with that, mostly because I'm not entirely sure how to change that, but let's do automatic transmission as usual. Our sponsor of the season is Terrazzi, per your request. New car is here and it seems to be ready, I think. This car has great traction, so it handles corners very well. But you don't drift. Don't say that to me, but I have no idea what it means yet. First heat is coming up, don't be shy, go for first place. Yeah, sure, I mean, I'll try. It's time for me to figure out what the controls are actually gonna be. Series 1, Circuit Helter Skelter in Yokohama. Gosh, alright. Let's check it out. It's May 1st, it's Labor Day, 1999, 11:30 AM. Let's go with random play. Feels like it would be kind of pointless otherwise.
Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1, go!
Is it X? Well, X does seem to be doing something, alright, so apparently I can use X to accelerate, and I can in fact use the stick to turn, so that's nice. Oh shit, I thought it was gonna be like a normal turn and not like an S thing. And I can use, just like in the, one of the very few things about Ridge Racer that I do know is the fucking, like 2006 PS3 presentation memes and how apparently you got the rearview mirror, and apparently that dude was not lying about that. So yeah, it sure seems a little, well, never mind. Get the feeling that even though this wasn't labeled as drift, I will have to figure out some drift stuff. Or at least similar. Though I do not quite know the soundtrack of this game well enough to identify which track is playing at any given time. Okay, I'm guessing based on the buttons that I'm pressing and how they are in fact responding that square is brake. That's what I figured out so far. X is accelerate and square is brake. I can imagine we got multiple laps because I think we made it all the way back to the other end of the circuit. But we've only done one lap so far, I think, so there's only 2 laps. Unless I'm completely wrong and we already did multiple laps and I didn't even notice. Oh fuck. Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, I think. Getting right in my way. If you want to match up competition, I will be the boosting gyros flying machine from DuckTales. I mean, I think I would rather boost in something that I actually know, but it's Steve's most hated song. I feel like I could probably boost in something that I know that would also be Steve's most hated song, not a movie, but... Okay, there's too out to muscle that guy, and now I'm in second place. So if nothing else, this should be good enough for a qualifier, I think. So here's the guy in first, coming up and... outmaneuver this dude here, then surely, yeah, I think we did it in first. Yeah, assuming that's the finish line. Okay, so it's the thing that's at the end of all that flashy stuff. That's actually the finish line. Interesting. So I'd like to imagine that I've at least got some decent idea of how to get through this. And surely we don't need to see the replay. I don't even know like which part of the race I was showing. It didn't look like the end to me, but there you go. Congratulations, you qualified. Oh goodness. So what else do we got? Wow, look at that, she's happy, first place. Knew you could count on you from the beginning. At this rate, I wonder if Father will stop his one-sided plan to get me married. Okay, why would this have anything to do with that? That seems like it came out of nowhere. I wasn't able to see you finish the race because I was sober so suddenly. Get first place in the second race to perhaps to watch a race next time. Alright, sure. That's a real motivator. Race to Circuit Wonder Hill in Fukuoka. Alright. What if I do look at the car data this time? It just shows like the same stuff that I showed before. I don't think it ever gave me the option to like change the name of the car or anything like that, so I'm not really sure why it shows me that. Right, it is now 2 weeks after Labor Day. Which was the last race. Let's just do random play every time. I think that's...
Real Racing Roots 99 in
There's gotta be the good move. I mean...
2, 1, go!
Might be the good move to, you know, manually choose which track I'm gonna play so I actually know the name of it when I place, but... Although it's too late this time. Because I sort of know what this track is called. How much we're trying to handle that turn with a little bit of grace without even having to drift. Oh shit, okay. Dang. I think I'm seeing some transparency stuff that I shouldn't be like. I can see cars through the slopes and I don't think that's supposed to happen, but... Oh well. It's not super noticeable most of the time at least. besides, I would want to get in somebody and so I'm going all out for this track. All in for this track. As already mentioned, I missed it. Are you planning on having a mashup in this running? Well, yeah. Probably at least something, because I've had like pretty much the only mashup competitions that I didn't enter that I could have entered so far because I didn't have enough stuff in like the archive of stuff that I could potentially use. And I think that now I do, so it's maybe not something that is gonna make me go, yeah, I sure feel good about this track, about this mashup, like a lot of people, like a lot of other people seem to, but it'll at least be something. I mean, I sure feel good about myself during this situation. It's just not something that I would say on the whole, I feel. But I probably will have something in at any rate. Okay, I guess we're gonna break some lap records in these courses, if nothing else. It seems to be something that seems to be consistently doable. But yeah, I feel like I can think of at least one mashup that will definitely be a decent choice for the requirements for this one. I mean, I obviously like the mashups that I submit, but they never win, so what does that really mean? Can I get past Mr. McDonald's fries here? McDonald's fries, or, you know, the forbidden bear that rules China. That do be things that those colors are reminding me of. China, aka the place that we will never be able to reach in Titan Quest. Reference that I'm sure only a few people will even be able to get. Even though that's something that's exclusively related to this stream, ironically enough. Oh shit. Okay. Just here to be an asshole to this dude that I stole first place from during the last like 10 seconds of the race. Well, alright. Durian moment for not just myself, but all the other people involved in this race, I'm sure. Congratulations, you qualified. I think we actually, yeah, it shows we actually did better with the lap time on the second one, but I guess we had already gotten the record by then. So, I wonder if we're gonna be able to like finish one Grand Prix run by the end of this clock, let's see. Other teams can't keep up with you. Donald said I shouldn't make such a fuss over first heat race results. Well, they are to me. Others probably not expecting us to do this well. I can just imagine their surprised look on his face right now. Oh, I can only imagine. Second heat's coming up. I might have accidentally skipped one of those boxes completely, but no, well. I just will be difficult, but it'll be easy for you, no? Missed it if she said no, like in the English no or French no, but wouldn't be surprised if they decide to go for that. Do you want to save your current Grand Prix results? Sure. I mean, why not? Select memory card file. Let's go with the final one as usual. I say as usual, even though I haven't even done that a whole lot on stream, but I usually do this, and it's like, yeah, let's do it in the most inconvenient place possible. Oh wait, never mind, we're gonna get through like half of Grand Prix during the time that I have allocated for this, I think. If I am understanding this, are we gonna be driving a truck this time? Or, no, never mind, the truck is just transporting the car. It would be interesting if we ended up driving a truck as part of this. Though, I mean, the model's right there, so clearly it could be made functional. Got the best car we could at this time to match our great driving skills. All the hard work was done by Donald and his staff. They wouldn't even listen to my suggestions. don't think this is a good working relationship. I don't know. I'm literally not able to provide any feedback that I myself get to the side, so... The other teams have new cars as well. It's gonna be difficult, but, well, I don't think it's gonna be that much different from what we've seen so far, though, objectively. Haven't played Forgotten Land yet? I have not, no. I can very much still say that I have not played any Kirby games in any kind of detail after Kube's adventure, so... Dang it. I didn't actually read the name of the track because I didn't realize that it was on the clock there, but... So, not a random track this time, but I guess it doesn't matter much because I didn't get to read what it was called. I feel like this... The beginning of this track at least does remind me of something else that I'm completely failing to... I was completely failing to remember, but I remember what it is now. It's the, it reminds me of one of the themes that you hear very early on. I want to say Eureka Battle 1. Yeah, Eureka Battle 1 from FF10 2, which is, funnily enough, another game that I haven't never actually played, but it is one of the soundtracks that I've tried to practice for. Which is in my recent sort of kind of return to creating a practice that I do by myself. Which, funnily enough, not really funnily enough, because it actually makes a lot of sense that it will be that way, but doing that probably offered to send a lot of people. It's actually been very helpful for that, just because of how it works and how it handles the tracks with both randomness and repetition. Like a more efficient version of something that I used to do back in the year or so ago. I would go back through tracks in a playlist that was randomized so I could make sure that I remember the names of all of them. I don't know, I feel like trying to remember what the names are for this game probably won't be too hard. If I actually get to that. Actually, come to think of it, I think this, now that I'm hearing this part of the track, I think it feels like more of like a mixture between FF10 to Eureka Battle 1 and I think it's Jet Set Radio Sneak Time that I'm thinking of. Don't know if we're gonna be able to get second place, so this might be like where the counters stop here. I don't know. I guess we're going to be able to get second place if we are able to live this dude behind. I don't know about first place because I don't know how much we have left though. So maybe not that. Oh wait. Okay, I didn't realize we had another lap left, so it's just a matter of finding out whoever's in first place and catching up to that. We'll be able to catch up before this lap is up though. That was pretty smooth through. Oh jeez. Yeah. Never quite managed to nail that turn, but that's okay. I still wanted to see if not for the fact that might be a little important here. Not want to give up first place, but oh well. Too bad. And pretty much the same way as the end of the previous race, where it's coming to spoil everything at the last 10 seconds. Oh, and it doesn't even like show the replay properly because it's just glitching out for this one. That's okay. What sound would that be? Contra 3, the Alien Wars, OST, or Road Warriors? Can't say I know that one. Well, there we go, we qualified. Let's see if I can complete one more, the other one of these speed races from like the middle part of the Grand Prix, I guess. Would be a good point to reach. Seems our new car was worth it. Donald and the crew, merci beaucoup. I guess that kind of rhymed. Need to work as a team to race. Trust is hard to learn, but I really do want you to get along and work with everyone. I wonder what she would be saying to me if I didn't get first place in all of these races. Let's work together to move to the final GP. Now let's see if we can. Circuit Outer Blue in Yokohama. Okay, can I complete my prerogative of actually looking at the track name before I pick it? What was number 7? I guess I could at least figure out what that one was. So right now it wants me to pick Quiet Curves, which is number 9, but number 7 was Burning Rubber. Let's pick Quiet Curves for this one, but I think I do know what this one sounds like. Though I already played enough. Oh god, just notice the shape of that car. No, this isn't the sound that I was expecting. This is the one that reminds me of... I remember this song kind of because it reminds me of, like, I think it's a special stage from Yoshi's Woolly World, but... there is a different R4 track that I thought was gonna be this track, but I don't know what that one's called now. I know that it's not. It's probably like Pearl Blue Soul or Naked Glow or something. It's one of those, because I know that those are both in this, but I don't know which one it would be. Can't really do the DL pitch perfect performance when all these other sounds are going on either, so... oh well, I just have to figure it out later. That's something that I kind of notice about a lot of like older car games, that's all the time, as they do tend to have good music, but a lot of the time you're not really going to be able to hear that too great, because of all the other sounds that are laid on top of it. So arguably, if you really want to enjoy it, you're going to have to seek it out in external context. I don't know what time's up, but I think we're pretty much committed to finishing this race, so I'll just see how that goes. It'll only take like, I want to say like 3 more minutes tops if the past races have been any indication, so that's alright. Oh fuck, this guy's like really aggressively try to frustrate my attempts to get in front of him, but for what? Was it worth it in the end? God, yeah, this turn is way too sharp for me to like try to slow down in time to not bump into stuff. Oop, oh god, I did hope that I was going to be able to avoid bumping into stuff there, but whatever. Nope, nope. I'll be the one. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say I'll be the one that's gonna have you bumping into the back of me, being frustrated and trying to get ahead of me, but apparently not. Instead of that happening from the perspective that would have been more favorable to me, it just didn't happen at all. Alright, I think we're in the same situation as in the previous race though. The main objective during the final lap is going to be catching up to whoever's in first place, even though this time I can see whoever's in first place very early on into the lap, which didn't happen last time. Thank goodness for manual transmission, though, so something that I will say. Or automatic transmission, the opposite of what I just said. Thank goodness for literally the exact opposite of what I just referenced. Okay, but at that time I was in fact able to, you know, slow down in time to not bump into shit during that turn, but that's because I was expecting it. Alright. There's a good chunk of track to go, and I managed to stay in first place for the entirety of that. Lets me save there, I think that's gonna be pretty good. I think we're good. I could imagine anything. Any kind of BS or the same kind that I've been doing to the other racers being done to me at this point. Oh, there we go. This one doesn't even glitch out on the replay except when you end it. Okay, never mind. That's different. And the laps in that are actually a little bit faster than in the previous one, it looks like. So that's interesting. Let's see what the message is gonna be this time. Wow, look at you. Running a consistent race. Everyone believes in you. My grandfather always told me that you need a team to run a race. How much racing did your grandfather do? Or witness? Was he one of the people who were in the crowd in the race car stage from Mafia 1? I assumed that when I grew up I would become the owner of this team and get to victory. Okay. Only the chosen few go back to battle each other for victory. Will you help me keep my promise? Well, I can try. It would help if I save. Yeah, let's save. But if that try does happen, it won't be right now anyway, because I'm going to stick a pin in the game for the time being, at least. So I'm pretty sure that the only retro achievements that this has that we were able to grab were, yep, up to Final GP to Phantom Isle. Pretty sure that's not a real place, but okay. I can see the reference at least. Whoops, also I pressed F1 on the wrong window. That'll happen. Let me just witness my own lingering curiosity at the idea of racing with a truck in this game. Let's have a look over the achievements real quick. Out of Blue King. Yes, so we get the records in Out of Blue, Edge of the Earth, Helter Skelter, and Wonder Hill, all on normal. So there you go. That is Rage Racer Type 4. I will make this invisible for a moment while I figure out what game to play next and bring back the iTunes playlist to keep us company during that time. But yeah, that was neato. I thought that I was gonna do a lot more horribly in that game, but I suppose that didn't happen. But let's see what's next as I take this time to erase the game from the other list as well. Oh. I thought I was gonna land right on the edge between these two choices, but no. It landed on Bejeweled. Almost landed on Star Fox 64, but not quite. It landed on Bejeweled, which I think is actually going to be a bit of a... might represent a bit of a complication, because it's going to be the same kind of, I don't know, strategy that I used to play that game. Or that I used to play Alchemy, like on the last stream of this that I did, which is going to make it a little bit awkward to like manage both that and whatchamacallit, Bejeweled moment. Yes, this is there. Make sure all these things are in the right place, and I'm gonna try to... I think I just have Bejeweled on Steam, unlike Alchemy, which I have to like... I don't think it's even listed on Alchemy, or I don't think Alchemy is even listed on Steam, but Bejeweled is one of those old PopCap games that you can just get it on there for like a really, really low amount. But I think it runs in the same way as Alchemy does, yeah, so I'm gonna have to like capture the monitor. Which should be the case now. Yeah, I need to change the text here, hold on. I don't want people to be disappointed if they come in looking for Ridge Racer Type 4 and they get Skaven instead. I mean, they should be disappointed for that reason, but it's all about consensus and being realistic with your projections, so let's see. Bejeweled Deluxe is... oh, what the fuck? Is running, and apparently the fucking RetroArch window just stretched for some reason. That might have shown up on the stream. I didn't quite see if that happened. Let me see. Okay, there it is. So we can in fact play this. Okay, the aspect ratio for this isn't even like correct on my actual monitor. I'll let you know that. Like the top part is a black bar and the bottom is cut off. But You can actually see it on OBS, ironically enough, so I think I'll just go ahead and start the game, or start the timer rather, immediately, so I don't have any complications with that, even if I would know the timer is not going to update live, because the window is completely completely cut off. But yeah, this is... There's a few different things. I feel like either the title theme or this is Data Jack, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, this is Bejeweled. I think you really need an explanation for this game. You've seen tons of games in this type of gameplay. Ever since this began to become a thing. So we're just gonna be doing this for 20 minutes until we hear the time be up, pretty much. There's much more to say than that. Yeah, let's do this, and all that other stuff. I think I need to vocalize my thought process for each one and every one of these ones. You can pretty much just see for yourself. The timer doesn't appear to be moving. Yeah, that's because the window that it's running off of is like taken out of focus completely by the fact that Bejeweled pretty much takes over everything, which honestly makes it weird that it does in fact capture the Untitled chat window and updates that, but hey, whatever. It's not something that I care about enough that I'm going to take the time to figure it out. But rest assured the timer is running and we will hear the timeout sound when that happens. But for now we hear this instead. I've been playing a lot of Bejeweled 2 and 3. I don't think I've ever spent like a whole lot of time playing any of these games, but I think that the modes that I would be most interested in any of these games would be like, I want to see the puzzle modes that are available I think only in 2 and 3. I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist in this game. There's the whole objective, it's kind of like an alchemy, except not, it's, I mean in alchemy you actually have a concrete objective, which is to place one symbol in each tile of the board, and that's exactly the same thing that you're doing here. Look here for a hint. I could do that, but I think I'll hold off on that for the time being. Yeah. Also, I think that the game is a little bit loud, but I hope that that's not like turning out to be an actual problem right now. Guess I'll only be able to find out once I watch this back later, though. I guess right now we're just trying to like score enough score to just be able to go on to the next level, I suppose, after we fill up that bar at the bottom. It seems like a reasonable way to go about things. There we go. Level up. Let's see. So I guess the first thing that I should be looking for in any given situation is which of these can I make into rows of 4 or 5 or columns of 4 or 5. And I don't think I necessarily see anything like that here, so... I mean, there's potential if I like get a green thing falling down here, but I don't know. I guess I'll do this to start. You can sort of tell that I don't play these sort of games with any kind of regularity. I see a 6 match. I probably failed to see it, I'm afraid. I feel like the only thing that really stands out to me is the, you know, the column of green over here. It was through India. Don't be surprised. It'll happen when I'm at the wheel. Yeah, I don't want to ruin this at least, but I'm having like a hard time trying to figure out what else I can do. I wonder if you can do this diagonally, right? No, you can't. I think it works diagonally. I feel like if it did, then some of the stuff that was over here before I wouldn't have been able to stay like that. There's do be some music that do be continuing to do things, though. That's for certain. Yeah, there's like a 3 diagonal here, and it's not doing anything, so I don't think it works like that. I really don't want to ruin this, but I guess it'll be like a thing here, a chain at least, so I just felt the one and only thing that I was actually able to figure out what I could do with it. Because I am bad at this. Like, I will zoom through Minesweeper, I will zoom through Nonograms and a bunch of other related stuff, but this is a little bit out of my area of knowledge, I would say that. Oh, could have maybe done a full round of that more. I can do a 4 here at least. I feel like whenever I look at a game with this style, I pretty much only look for the instant gratification matches instead of trying to play it smart. And some of the time it's just because I genuinely don't see any other option. There's another 6. Did I just run it? Because if not, then honestly just feel free to backseat me on this game. I don't mind that at all for this game. Trying to figure out what it could be. Maybe it's the purple triangles. Let me see if I do this. Then this will fall one space. But it won't be aligned with the ones over here. Okay, hold on. I'm trying a different approach because I feel like I might see something different. I probably should have tried to get this out of the way before they fell down here, but I can make this. Yeah, no, yeah, never underestimate my ability to not do things in the optimal way, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Alright, let's see. Like, obviously I can do stuff here, and... Is it actually a 5 match? I don't think it's a 5 match. I think it's just a 4. Like, I can do this, and I can do this, but I feel like I'm squandering an opportunity if I do that. Make the L? Can you make the L? Oh, wait a minute. You mean this one and this one. Yeah, I completely failed to see that that was an option. See, that's pretty much the type of stuff that's going on in my head. Okay, I'm gonna try something. I just want to see what happens when I do that, is what I wanted to say. Okay, let's see. Yes, I'm also looking for that as a potential shape pattern now. Can I move this over here? Not really. I can maybe make an L or a T here if I had like another row with one right above it, but I don't think I do. So maybe if I try to, if I was able to like get 3, roll 3 down here, maybe I could make that happen, but I don't think that's in the cards right now. So I feel like I might just have to do it that way, the cheap way. I can't move this over here and get it to stay over there. Okay, I'm just gonna do that and see where I can go from there. Oh, not very many places, as it happens. Okay, so what can I do here at all? That's what I'm actually looking at now. I can do this, but I feel like that's another squandered opportunity. But once again, that might be literally the only option. So doing that, I can see, oh, there's this. I don't think I can do much more else with that. I can't really put this, hold on, let's see what I'm trying to do. well, that kind of took the control that I had with the Umbra blocks out of my hands, but at least it made me get off the fence, fortunately. I'd like to drop this one all the way down here to at least be able to make a 4, but I guess since that's not gonna happen, let's do something else. Do this and chain up with this and do that. But do I want to do it like that? I can't believe I still have 19 minutes 58 seconds of this game left. It's like time freezes when you have no idea what you're doing. Now I'll tell you what, I think at this point the best option that I have will probably just be to try and finish this stage however I can. Yeah, but I keep on seeing a few potential opportunities that I can't actually take advantage of. Oh, see, this looks like it could be juicy, but of course I would need something on this side to make it work. And what, fuck it. Let's make the most of that at least. Okay, I think if I can manage to beat this stage score-wise, I'll take a look at time trial and see if that makes it look less horrible than I'm making it look right now. I sure do be a track though, even though I think this is probably just, I think, just based on a vague recollection of my memory from looking at the soundtrack from this game before. This is like technically a sequence of like shorter tracks being spliced together in possibly not static order. Kind of like a far better sounding version of the theme from cartoons Summer Resort back in the day, where it's just like 5-second clips which are randomized in sequence. Well, we're almost there, but once again I'm getting lost because I'm incompetent. No, I was trying to do this. Just let me be mediocre and have my own pace again. Oh, there we go. Double up. Now let's see if we can time trial this. You must end the current game to the time mode. Oh yeah, and it's clearly not a... Oh, I think this is data jack actually, so there we go. It placed her in the time trial mode. And apparently time limit is dynamic and you can just keep raising it to the score instead of it being like a static thing. You know, speaking of that. I don't know if the fact that it's central is going to give me like automatically better opportunities because I was not expecting any of those chains to happen, but... Oh boy. Can I actually take advantage of this one this time? I could do this, but then I would have like need another amber block over here to take advantage of that. Let's see if I can work towards that. There's one, but never mind. Maybe I can actually fill it up and go to the next level instead. Okay, never mind. I completely misinterpreted how that would work. I feel like this makes it far more likely for me to actually get a game over though, so I'll stick with this for that reason. But I am content to just keep moving. What can I really do with all this? That's the question. They're all like on different columns. I can really make a match with any of these right now. I don't want to move. But I can do that. I get this stuff down here and over here, which doesn't help. And this is just like, why? Why is it like this? Why does it have to be like this? Do that. I'm actually not there. I'm getting this. gonna say, or if we make it impossible to make a match with the Amber at that point. I guess we'll just get this out of the way. Fuck it. I'm actually thinking of it being better to do that, so... Oh, there we go. Like doing the chains. That's actually a much better. Oh wait, that didn't end the stage. I thought it did. I probably could have done something with that, but oh well. The stage ended right after that regardless, so... And if the time, I think it does now, it starts going like, going down faster, deeper you get into time trial. I'm assuming that's how that works. So it does seem to be going down faster now, so I can like get to the point where it will go down fast enough to actually run out on my incompetence self. I feel like that would be a good testament of how far I've come. Or at least where the stage becomes enough of a mess that I actually will run out of time just from my lack of indecision. My lack of indecision, that's a double negative right there. My indecision, my lack of judgment. Shit, what do I even do right now? I guess I can do this. Oh. Did I just lose because I didn't have any moves left? Well, I think I did, but the penalty was that it lost me a lot of time instead of actually just saying no impulsively. Well, I probably should have done that. Screw with the optimization. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's what I mean. There weren't any moves left, so it reset. I thought that if I got it to that point, there would be a worse penalty, I guess, but very real possibility that I'm actually gonna run out of time now. I wonder if I was just flashing there to let you know that yes, that is going to happen. Can I keep myself alive at all? Probably not. It's just gonna have to make some bigger, more desperate, more probably bad decisions as a result of that now. There you go, you can put in your name as Labrat. Instead of Wolf, but hold on, before we do that, let me see how the actual timer is doing, because it should be doing something. Nope, we got like just under 2 minutes left. So I wonder if we could really do with that time. I guess I can stare at the normal mode again some more. How badly can I screw this up before the time actually runs out? How much can I make people shake their head at the way I'm playing this game that actually know how to play these types of games? That is my prerogative now. They do seem to be somehow better at inadvertently, you know, very much accidentally setting up these, what do they call these chains then? Am I doing anything else? What happens if you actually click the hint button? Maybe we can find that out. Oh, it takes away some score, that's understandable. Oh, no moves. But do you actually lose? You got no moves? Oh, you do. Okay. Well, that confirms it, but I mean, we didn't even make it on the high score, the actual high score list, so I bother with that. That's a good game. That seems like a pretty fitting way to end that run. And yeah, the time's up. For reals this time, so yeah. But something that I do want to check out, though, before I fully move on from that game, is... let me put this visible again. It's over there. It'll still be, you know, there on the... visible on two fronts now, since using display capture for that. And... so we can make this, bring this back, but before I bring back the items playlist, let me go to my Bejeweled thing that I found for the soundtrack of this game, and let me see what that looks like on the whole, because I think it's like a weird sweet kind of thing. That's something that's been talked about in the chase a few times with the Bejeweled games, at least 1 and 2. There's Data Jack Part 1. It is like the one we heard during the time mode. I'm pretty sure there's Network, which may have been the title theme. I already forgot, I'm sorry. There's Autonomous, which may have been the title theme instead. I thought that... wait, let me skip a little bit ahead on Network. No, never mind, Network, I think. If I'm not mistaken, Autonomous is the title theme, Network is the normal mode, and Data Jack is the time trial mode. But it says part 1, 2, 3, and 4, but part 2, 3, and 4 is like less than 30 seconds. I guess it's like a more urgent variation on the beginning. I don't know. I'm playing them now. So I'm not entirely sure what the what's up with the nature of those, but there you go. So let's bring back the very end of this Metroid Brave Hunter Strike as I have to skip ahead. As I figure out what's gonna be next, I got time for like, I wanna say, maybe 2 more of this, or 3 if I'm really lucky. But let's see, I'm going to make sure Bejeweled is also off of this list, and then we still got Bejeweled 2 on here. So you know that's not an impossibility, but we'll see how the wheel decides. Doesn't seem like that's gonna be it though. Wait. That's not okay, that's not the same one that got picked last time. Because last time we had Marvel Super Heroes vs. Street Fighter, but apparently now we're gonna get the one that came even before this one, and well, this is gonna line up quite well with the previous game being something that people who are actually competent at these types of games will probably find very unsatisfying to watch, but I guess it has a different purpose to serve. So let me see. Actually, while I'm in this folder, let me make sure that it's ready. It might not be. It is not. Let me make sure that it's ready. Gotta go for now, catch you later. Alright, Schuster, see you later. I think we're gonna be going for like another hour at this point, so don't worry that you're gonna be missing much of anything. But what am I looking at here? I'm gonna try to figure out how to start up Marvel Super Heroes, which I think, much like a bunch of this MVC stuff, there's like a PlayStation version, or at least this older one. There's a PlayStation version and an arcade version, but I think, from what I've seen at least, the PlayStation version has like the acceptable music for the chase versions. So let me see if I can get that ready. Oh hey Chef, how's it going? Welcome into my trying out some short games from a list stream, which I should probably update it with the game that I'm actually going to be playing now. No, don't press enter. There's no need for another Phantom Road on there. Marvel Superheroes. And I play each one for 20 minutes, starting from like whenever the gameplay starts up. But yeah, pretty much something that I wanted to do today, or well, wanted to stream something today. That will pretty much be a precursor to movie night later. Let's see. Actually make this visible. There it goes. No time to fade out the old Valkyrie profile, even though that will also... would also be part of this, both, well, category-wise, I guess you could say. Both in that it's a game that will soon be in the chase, and in that it's a PS1 game. Or at least a game that you can play on PS1, quote-unquote, I guess. That would be probably a better way to put it. But yeah, Marvel Superheroes. Yet another one in this vast array of like Marvel Capcom fighting games that I never actually played for myself. Oh shit, it's doing it again, hold on. Gotta do this again, just one moment. I'm going to assume that this isn't made for the sticks, so just use normal controller, I guess. It's actually set to DualShock right now, so I guess it wants it to be the normal controller. There we go. You can play arcade mode versus mode option mode or backup. I guess that's just... oh, backup, never mind. I don't know that... I don't think I've ever seen a game have like backup as the data management option, but okay. What about option mode? It's the same kind of thing. Difficulty, well, I'm gonna leave it on the default, which probably means that I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but that's to be expected. 3 rounds. Still not even sure what the turbo speed refers to, even though I'm pretty sure there was also a setting in Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, which was ironically enough one that I tried out before this one. But I think everything else I'll just leave as it is. Arcade mode it is. Was this one popular or something? I don't think I heard Marvel Superheroes before. I know Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this... I mean, I wouldn't be very knowledgeable on the matter myself, as I've said, but I'm pretty sure it's like the ones that were only with Marvel characters were the precursors to Marvel vs. Capcom. It was like... I want to say X-Men Children of the Atom, even though I don't remember if that one was actually a fighting game, because I don't really know anything about it. There's Marvel Superheroes, which you see before you. There's X-Men vs. Street Fighter, then Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and I'm pretty sure after that came Marvel vs. Capcom 1, and so on and so forth. But I don't think I saw Magneto as a playable character in any of these other ones, so why not? Let's go with that one. Normal turbo, what the difference that's gonna make. Oh boy, there's Shuma-chan immediately going on. And the other character that I had in mind. Let's start the clock. Shuma-chan, who still isn't in movies, but I was actually looking at the profile for Shumagorath, I think yesterday, in some websites, and apparently Shumagorath, at least as a name, I don't know if it's like the same character at all, but apparently originated in the fucking Robert E. Howard. I think it was called the Cimmerian Stars, which I actually have a collection of his stuff, but I don't think I've gotten around to reading that, which is kind of a shame, because, you know, you want to hear something funny. Okay, that was entirely too easy. Something's gonna be up. It's gonna be like when I tried Marvel vs. Street Fighter yesterday, and where like the first fight just seems easy, but then the second one I can't even get one round of KO. But yeah, it's kind of funny because I've had like those available for the longest time, and like I started reading H.P. Lovecraft when I was like a teenager, and I went through a lot of those stories, but it wasn't until after that, when I was in like my very late teens, early 20s, I started reading the other two main people that contributed to Weird Tales magazine, which were Robert E. Howard, but also Clark Ashton Smith, which pretty much my entire channel is themed after, so it's no surprise that I know who that is. And honestly, what I read from them, I think, was just kind of came across as somewhat more impacting, at least redaction-wise, prose. But I mean, I definitely know and still understand why Lovecraft has endured, but I was honestly really surprised at how good their stuff was. Because the my acolytes could have... oh, that kind of went by quickly. As the Infinity Gems you can use, each one gives a different effect. Okay, and just like in Marvel vs. Street Fighter, the second opponent is Hulk. Let's see how badly this is gonna go this time. At least there's no like tag team mechanic going on in this one that I've noticed. Okay, yeah, he hits hard, but let's try to figure out what you know, what edge stuff they actually have. Apparently you can do like a sliding kick forward with Magneto, which is nice. I'm guessing that we're gonna be able to use that. Yep. Oh shit, that I somehow did a grab even though I'm not even sure how I did that. I feel like spamming sliding kick forward. I thought this was supposed to be middle difficulty, not like someone like me who sucks at fighting games can actually win difficulty, but I mean, I'll take it. And I feel like you can, if you can just zoom through all the fights, then yeah, you're gonna be able to speedrun games like this without much trouble, but like you're talking to, oh shit, you're talking to somebody who played, I think it was Guilty Gear XX, and picked one character and got to the end of like that character's story mode, to the final fight in that story mode, and after a lot of effort I could not beat that final fight, so I just gave up at that final fight. And I'm pretty sure the same thing happened to me when I played, I think it was the first, was it the first? No, I think it was like arcade mode in the first, not, let me start from the beginning because I'm just confusing myself now. That happened to me in Guilty Gear XX, like I mentioned, but it also happened to me in Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma, which is not the first game in that series. With one of the characters there, which I can't even remember what they're called. I think this was, he was like a squirrel-themed chick, I want to say. Managed to get to the final fight of like the arcade mode, but then gave up because I was kind of fed up at that point. I've learned a valuable lesson today. I am powerful and you are nothing. Well, this certainly doesn't seem to match up with the characterization of Magneto as seen in the X-Men cartoon series we've been watching in the Chase server. Now it's time for, what does Captain America's theme sound like in this game? I'm actually curious, because I don't think I don't think it's quite the same as the one that you hear in Marvel vs. Capcom, which I at least would be able to recognize. Oh, what am I doing? I'm pressing through, but I'm pressing like super high kick when I'm supposed to be pressing, yeah, high. Is it high kick? I think R1 is supposed to be, like the way it works in this game, right? Is that, or at least in the PlayStation versions of these games, is that R1 is high punch and R2 is high kick, I think, so I'm actually using high punch for that kick. Unless I'm completely wrong about that. Which could very well be a possibility. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like a cakewalk level anymore. Life recovery, you can do that. I mean, I think I have some of the Infinity Gems but myself, but I don't know how to use them, as you might imagine. Because like I could never figure out how to do the tag in, tag out thing when I tried Marvel vs. Street Fighter. It's just like, Cap, you don't have your shield, what are you gonna do? Another normal Street Fighter 2 on SNES is just pressing fierce kicks on the... I mean, that probably would be how I would play if I were to play that. I'm gonna say that I would probably play the arcade version if I were to like demo that, because I'm pretty sure that's on the list as well, but... I'm actually not sure like which version of the soundtrack for Street Fighter 2 the SNES version has, so I don't know if that's in the chase. I wouldn't necessarily count on that. So I just found like the regular CPS1 and the CPS2 versions of Street Fighter 2 Arcade to like have on standby in case that comes up. And I'm pretty sure that does match up with the soundtracks that I've heard in the chase, because I did check that. Okay, time to try a few different moves than just this stupid kick, I think. Probably a good idea. I can... What does middle punch do when I'm not crouching? Does it aim up when I'm not crouching? That seems kind of unfortunate. I want to say I'm noticing a few things about this game that reminds me of, and specifically about Captain America here, that reminds me of stuff that I saw as mechanics in Skullgirls farther down the line. Like the freaking throwing your shield and having to fetch it again thing. You had a similar thing in Skullgirls with Miss Fortune's head. And also just throwing your shield and it bounces back, or you can throw it at different angles. I'm pretty sure that's also based on the zoning shit, or that can also be seen rather in the zoning shit that Parasol does in that game. And there you go. They finally get to the point where I'm getting wrecked. When you battle America's champions, you're taking on the best, such as, fuck. Kick. I don't know if that's any kick or, a specific kick, or all three of the kick buttons at once that it's telling me to press. But I guess there are super, so I can switch my character. Hold on. I don't know if it's gonna let me pick, like, resume from the same stage if I do this, but... maybe I can do better with Shuma-chan in this game. I want to say that that's probably the same sprite set that Shuma has in this game as he does in Marvel vs. Street Fighter, but not even sure. Let's see though. I do remember that alligator. Oh shit. Wait, they can actually like drop the stones, and one character can drop the stones and the other can pick them back up. I feel like I just saw that, but yeah, this moves definitely feel very similar to the Shuma version from Marvel vs. Street Fighter, so... Yeah, no worries, Jeff. Don't worry about that. Pinball machines. I don't remember if I ever played like an actual pinball machine in my life, to be honest with you. Like, about the only experience that I have any actual memory of with arcade machines is like one time when I was like, God, how old was I even? I was like 14 or something. And I think that's when I went to the US for the first time. I went to Austin, Texas, and stayed with some family there. Was it Austin, Texas? Actually, no, it wasn't. Never mind. It was after that. I didn't go to Austin, Texas. I went to Dallas, Texas, and stayed with some family there. It wasn't quite the first time. Might have been like a year or two later. Or 3, I don't know, but... we went to like this, I want to say bowling alley place, and we did no bowling whatsoever. Instead, like most of the people that were there, with my cousin, because they actually knew him and were hanging out with him very much. Played like at a pool table for most of the night, but there were also some like arcade machines there. And I think I remember one of them being like Silent Scope, which I actually looked up recently because I was like, you know, finding arcade stuff to just kind of have handy. And apparently they did like ports of all the Silent Scope games for PlayStation, so I just kind of looked into those briefly. If that's probably not the kind of thing that I would end up bringing to stream, but just to kind of check out by myself. Oh, okay. Apparently, using the shoulder buttons will still be a good idea. I do wish that I knew how to use the fucking gems myself, though, when I actually have them. Hey, there we go. Apparently, spooky tentacle demons is in fact the key to defeating obnoxious superheroes. I am the void that consumes all hope. I have no idea if Shumagarath ever showed up in like any of the animated series or anything, so I don't know what an expected voice for Shumagarath would be. Oh no, I'm gonna be fighting my old self. So I might have just like missed out on a potential mirror match if I had managed to get through that fight on my first attempt. Also, it doesn't really help when I try to do a dash and like it just doesn't work. Because I'm not tapping the D-pad furiously in just the right way. Okay, I think these two buttons are the... I don't know. Maybe these two buttons are the grab, but I can't figure out. Is it these two? Is it these two? Because I'm pretty sure in Skullgirls, which is like the only game I keep bringing up because I'm sorry, but it's the only thing that makes sense. The only game like this that I have like any actual experience with that I didn't completely suck at. I'm pretty sure in that game, the grab is, you know, it's actually two things. Two of the normal buttons at once. I'm gonna be waiting right here. I was gonna find out what happened with R2 when I was crouched like that. I guess I can find out now. Oh, okay. That's what he did, I suppose. hear me mashing the buttons. Because what else do I have as my... What is he saying? I want to know what Magneto's voice clips are in this game, because it sounds like he's not speaking English, I'll put it that way. I think he says whatever that laser line is. Ow. Okay. Apparently Shuma was not good enough for this occasion. I guess I can try somebody else as well. Missing out on pinballs, it's pretty fun. Yeah, probably, but like the only other example I can think of literally anything I saw having to do with pinballs was the fucking parody riff video that talked about some kind of demo video for, I think it was the fucking Flintstones movie pinball. It was just like very goofy all throughout. I think I'll try Psylocke, because I don't think she's in very many of these games at all, if she's in any of these games that aren't this one. Okay, apparently it's Spider-Man this time. Like the only thing that I could say that would even begin to resemble I remember this pinball was the fake pinball app that you get for free on Windows XP. Like Space Cadet Pinball, that's what it was called. And I would say maybe Pinball of the Dead, but that's not even true. Like, the only mean video game pinball game that I ever have like clearer memories of is probably Metroid Prime Pinball. Because I just had to try that one out. It's just not in the cards for me to ignore it. Damn it. Oh, okay. Okay, you can actually have a... I figured out how to make a projectile. That means that I think I got my... Come on. Definitely feel like that should have hit. Well, I thought I figured out how to make a projectile, but then it didn't seem to work a second time. Oh my gosh. Also, I think I just heard a Webfro voice clip, which I remember hearing on like a YouTube poop years ago. Wait, what the fuck? Really? You're gonna do the... napalm shot. Yep, okay. Damn. So, Spider-Man is a fucking sonar scum, basically, is what I'm getting out of this. And I don't think... It doesn't look like Psylocke. I mean, Psylocke also has Sony moves, obviously, because I was doing the projectile, but... the rest of what I was doing... Well, that's fucking creepy. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Like everything else that I was doing, did it seem like it was an effective counter for zoning stuff, so what if I'm playing Juggernaut? Because I think it's the same kind of idea as with Psylocke in that I don't think I remember him in very many of these games. It's gonna be versus Iron Man, okay. Iron Man back when he had the same look that he was partied in Dexter's Lab with the fucking bullet guy. Maybe I could tell you what the name of the character was if I ever watched Dexter's Lab in English, but I didn't. I definitely remember him existing. Boy. Yeah, I'm guessing... It's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure Blackheart was in the character select screen as well, but I'm guessing Juggernaut is going to be the same kind of character as Blackheart. Gave me the impression of being in Marvel vs. Street Fighter, which is moves slow but hits hard. It generally seems to be the case so far. Just need to actually be able to hit him more times with that kick there. I'll try R2, see what that actually does. Okay. Apparently R2 from the ground. There's just like a recipe for always jumping up really high. But I don't know what R2 is actually supposed to be. It's apparently not the same distribution that I thought it might be. Oh, gosh, okay, well. Power up before doing some kind of super, which apparently was too slow to counter, or at least try to shield against. They're both in danger, but he has better zoning shit than I do, so I don't think... No. Nope, never mind. I somehow managed to edge it out by literally also having 0 health left. I guess I finally found the, well, the double whammy of counters for zoning bullshit, which is the R2 super jump thing and Juggernaut, apparently. Just don't make him like they used to. Oh boy, it's for you next. Now this is a matchup. We've seen how this ends on the cartoon series, but will this be any different? Didn't even have to like do the jump to get in close, because apparently Wolverine is very much of the insert JoJo meme here about you approaching the school of how to handle things. Holy shit, okay. Well, when you can actually land that kick with its full force, apparently that's the you win button. Like that that one spell from the DLC in Dark Souls 1, Dark Flame. And you want to just summon all the power bullshit. Be sure to remember this. Maybe Wolverine has like some kind of special mechanics. I'm noticing that he's like taking like large amounts of health, but he like heals that back. Is that supposed to be like the healing factor implementation in gameplay? Because that's interesting. I think it just makes him weaker on the whole though. Because that means that it takes less of an effort to actually bring him down when he's low. Because it seems like he takes more damage at that point. Yeah, apparently spam that high kick with Juggernaut does seem to be the key to victory. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through the rest of these fights in 40 seconds though. Maybe you should try fighting old sick people. What's he trying to say about... I feel like he would have made a joke like that about Wolverine himself. Given how old he actually is, but... Maybe he's saying you should try to fight Magneto. Except that it's equally nonsensical no matter which of those you assume to be the target, I think. You just like bend the steel beam in the like his intro animation thing. I haven't guessed that before. I guess so. I think Magneto definitely used the jump spam. Oh shit. The super jump spam when I fought him as an AI opponent the last time. Oh jeez. Oh fuck. And he does seem to like flying up high. That's way too like avoid damage, but well, time's up. I don't know if I can actually expect to like claim victory in both of these rounds, but I'll try. But if I somehow don't, that's gonna make it like the actual good stopping point for this game. I think I'll only do one more game after this one, regardless. Probably, that's probably the best idea. At this point. Ugh. Might be too awkward otherwise, but nope. Apparently Juggernaut spam will always win the day. And look at the bot lines from that perspective, on that sprite. You're lucky and in a good mood. Be a shame if you wound up dead. Dr. Doom. I don't think it was selectable as a player character. Maybe you have to unlock him or something. I mean, since I've already decided that I'm only going to be doing one more game after this one, might as well see if I can spam my way to the end of this mode as Juggernaut. If I end up getting an actual loss before I get there, that'll be the starting point, but if that moment does not come, might as well take advantage of that. Okay, so he's got some kind of a screen spanning laser like some of these characters seem to... Oh shit. Seem to do. Which means that... Oh shit. Well, it's a little late for me to get out of the way of that. So these are gonna be the... Oh, okay. So he has that as a shield, and he can also use that as a screen spanning projectile. That's it's a little cheap. This might be the end of Juggernaut. Let's see. Won't give you an any of your search characters midway through the campaign. Well, that's unfortunate, but... I feel like I wasn't expecting that to be achievable anyway, considering who it is that's playing the game. Oh wait, what? Did he jump forward and shield as he was jumping forward? That seems like that shouldn't be possible. I don't know, I'm not a fighting game wizard. I didn't even play Melee. Well, there you go. Apparently, Juggernaut does have the ultimate spam power, no matter what. I guess, distant reminder to myself that if I ever want to go through the entirety of this game, which is kind of unlikely, but if I ever do that, better just pick Juggernaut from the beginning. And it looks like Thanos shows up at the end. Oh boy. He's so happy. He's not even as big as Juggernaut is, which I guess makes sense. Did you truly believe I would allow you to defeat me? Would you have said something different to me if I had come here as a different character? No, we did mention Juggernaut by name, as he has this, I'm guessing that's supposed to be like Death in the background, in the purple robe, but it kind of looks like one of the monks from the background of the, like, Mortal Kombat stages. I wonder if that's on purpose, that they made it look like that. I suppose I wouldn't be too surprised if it was. Mortal Kombat is definitely not one of the extremely rare fighting games or fighting game series where I would say that I'm actually familiar with it, but it is the rare fighting game series that I at least got to witness a lot of gameplay of when I was younger. I'm pretty sure my cousins played it a lot, because they were actually into fighting games. Okay, I think Juggernaut has finally made a smash. Yep. Oops. Yeah, I guess it's pretty ironic how I was talking about earlier, like, hey, let me tell you about some fighting games where I made it to the end, the final match of story mode, and then I gave up. It looks like history has a way of repeating itself. I will, however, make a save state right here in case I want to change history at any point in the future, but I will follow through on what I said before and let that be the stopping point for that game. So let's see what I am going to make the final game for tonight. As I go back to the wheel spin and I bring back this Valkyrie Bravo track for just a little bit. So let me make sure that Marvel Superheroes is gone from this other list, and it is, so let's spin the wheel again. See what the final champion is gonna be for right now. It's Afterburner 2 time, which I'm gonna switch. Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure it's one of several games that I have on my Chase like spreadsheet of games. With the note that I technically have played this, but I only ever played it in-game in Shenmue, in the arcade machines. So let me go ahead and get that ready, because I should be able to get the arcade version ready, as you might expect, with like a little issue. I'm sure it should be high up in the history too, because I was like testing all the arcade stuff before. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's Afterburner 1 and Afterburner 2, but I'm pretty sure the only difference, like the actual relation between Afterburner 1 and 2, is that 2 is just like an updated, improved version of the first one, so there's not really any reason other than you being very curious about it to play Afterburner 1. That has been my experience with it. If you roll Scony card, no one will hold it against you for setting the timer to 10 instead of 20. Well, funnily enough, I think I have Scony card on the list. Let me like look at it really quickly. Yeah, it's on there. But funnily enough, I think I have that around, but I'm pretty sure that's also one of the things that I have not ended up testing at all, so that definitely has the potential to be a disaster. Because I don't even know where to access DOSBox from with my current setup after, you know, the whole... I have... what do you call it? I have lost a bunch of stuff because I had a hard drive crash, and for a bunch of that stuff I don't know where anything is anymore, so I don't even know, like, where I would go to access DOSBox right now. I'll figure it out at some point, but right now let's just do some Afterburner. It should all be with the right settings already. And have this be our swan song for tonight. Here we go. And let me fade out a picture of this Turbos bug. Regular Turbos bug or dark? It might be dark Turbos bug. Yeah, it is. It's apparently shorter mix of dark Turbos bug. Go figure. Funnily enough, I definitely am happy to see Metroid Prime 3 in the chase, but I do feel like Prime 2 probably would have been a somewhat more sensible idea to include in the chase earlier, just because I think it has more tracks that are workable for that. But yeah, Afterburner. We got the Vulcan gun with the thing on the back of the grip, which I am totally using, and the missile, if you... I guess the Vulcan gun is just a regular gun, and the missile is like the special thingy, which... yeah, because you got 2 buttons and that's it. So we can start in the time we put in a credit, which gives us 3 ships. Let's put in a few more credits, what if I go crazy and put all my life savings in there? Will it, like, stop me from sheeping this out? I don't think it will, no. Give me a nice number of ships for a while. We can go above 100. I'm gonna make our cute owners somewhere very, very rich. Well, it does give me 3 at a time, so let's... oh, never mind, I was gonna say let's cap it out at 300, but ironically, apparently this is the limit. 1 less credit than would give you 300. So yeah. We have accrued many, many flying aircraft. Let's actually make use of it now. Yes, as soon as I press start, that's when I start the clock, so let's do that now. Oh, I'm so ready, you have no idea. Alright, let's see. Okay. Okay, so probably using the... yeah. Oh. So let me see if I'm not mistaken the way that you do, like, rolls in these games. You fly very sharply in one direction and then you fly very sharply in the other direction. Oh no, I lost out of my hundreds of ships. What will I do? Very speedy, and I'm pretty sure from what I very briefly played of this game in the past, the main thing you want to concern yourself with is not getting shot down by when there's a bunch of ships that go in front of you and shoot a bunch of rockets at you, because those actually track you pretty well. So it's not a great outlook for your survival. Yeah. And a lot of the time you can't even see them coming, but funnily enough I'm pretty sure that if you somehow crash into the oncoming ships, it's not even as hazardous as actually touching those rockets. But yeah, time to reload like in Top Gun. Reload weapons, which I haven't really been using at all, but yeah. Maybe I will at some point. Let me just figure out what the button is for it. Okay, I found a button for shooting the missiles myself. So I hope you don't get dizzy easily. I don't know. I feel like I never get motion sickness from stuff like this, but I get motion sickness from... like when I played Alan Wake on stream, I got crazy motion sickness, and to the point where I actually looked up if this was like a common thing, because it was just so bizarre and intense. And apparently it might have been caused by the flashlight beam staying in the middle of the screen and creating like a false impression of like a center of motion, and that aggravated things, but I don't know. It did seem to get less bad later on in that game when some improvements that I did to like... I think there's some... I found a mod for some frame rate stuff for that, and also, you know, change the settings on the flashlight beam, which you can do in game at least, to not have it do that. But anyhow, I mean, I feel like I could be saying more about this game, but I feel like this game shows you everything you need to know about it. Including these casuals that we're flying over. Too bad casuals are rendered worthless when air warfare becomes a thing. Oh yeah, I think I actually tested this game very briefly before, and I think the part that may or may not be coming up right after this air pit stop, which I have no idea if this is like a real thing. It seems a bit impractical. But if we're coming up on what I think we are, that's... No, we're not. Not yet. There's one part that I remember that is as far as I got. Fly under the water with the missiles will never hit you. That's a big gameplay. Or maybe the missiles will do these sick whizzing things as they go underwater, like in the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. At least I assume that happens during that scene. I've never actually seen that movie, but I played Conker's Bad Fur Day. I'm pretty sure that's what that's from. Well, I gotta tell you, it's a good thing that I'm rich and can just put infinite credits into the machine, because otherwise this performance might have been enough to frustrate me at a few points before we get to that, before we got to here. Oh shit, okay, I'm apparently getting tailgated by somebody. That's, I can't tell if that blue guy that was shooting from behind was trying to shoot me down, or maybe it was some hidden ally like the Star Fox, or the allies in Star Fox aren't really hidden, but maybe when you get helped out by your dad. Nope, I think this guy is my enemy, otherwise that wouldn't have happened. Not here. Also, I keep hearing the fire. I never even commented on this before, but I keep hearing fire. Every single time, like, one of the enemy ships gets on screen. So it's like that one thing, like headset for the game that was featured in that one AVGN episode, where it's like, yeah, yell fire into it to press the A button or what have you. Can you imagine if you had to, like, constantly yell fire at this game to use the basic gun? That would be something, considering that the thing that I am using to use the basic gun is just hold the button down the entire time. But I'm pretty sure this is actually the part that I was talking about earlier, where this is as far as I got before, because... Oh, okay, never mind. I passed it this time. It's, shockingly. Have to actually avoid crashing into the canyon walls. Oh. Well, how do I do this? Do I have to, like, do flips to get it to stop chasing me? I guess I did, because I didn't get hit by it that time. Being chased by a missile do flips. I mean, that might work, I don't know. Depends on how that missile targeting actually works. Also, hello, and I will hydrate in short order, and also hello, the full twitch. Kind of caught up in the moment here. I will hydrate before this reaches an ending, rest assured. Even if this is the final game that I will be checking out for right now. I'm reasonably certain that there's an ending to this game. And because I have 300 lives, I would imagine that I would be able to get to it through sheer attrition. I'm trying to not suck. I wonder how reasonable it would be for me to try to do that with my average performance at this game if I didn't have these 300 lives then. I'm pretty sure, like I did mention, the only other time that I have played this game is on Shenmue. And I think, unless I'm very much mistaken, it's actually only playable on Shenmue 2. I might be wrong about that, but I do remember it being playable on Shenmue 2 because there's, like, its appearance in that game is kind of special. In that there's only one place in the whole game where you can play it. I'm pretty sure it's this game, yeah. There's only one place in the whole game where you can play it, and it's like an unmarked room in like the final dungeon area, which is a giant building, which is pretty much the final dungeon area. And there's like tons and tons of doors and rooms that you can go past, and you pretty much have to go past because there's just too many of them to check them all in that area. But if if you pretty much looked it up, you can find one of those rooms that has an Afterburner 2 arcade machine in it, and that's pretty much the only way to play it. Well, I'm pretty sure that if you do play it, you have to abide by, you know, the usual restrictions you would have in a game like this, which is you can't bribe your way through. Well, maybe you can. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have to actually pay in-game money in Shenmue to be able to use the arcade machines. I don't remember if you have to do it with that one. It would make sense if you did, but I don't think you can, you know, win through bribery to the same extent that I am doing now. I'm really surprised that some of these missiles have not ended up destroying the ocean, but then that happened. Did not die by the missile, died by the gun wielded by the enemy plane. Oop. Pretty sure that was... If I did get shot down by those missiles, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I did that to myself, because I pretty much flew into the path of those missiles. Speaking of missiles, I should probably use mine, but... I don't know, I guess I could use one of mine if I ever get, like, tailgated. Is that the car from Outrun? I think, yeah, it didn't even hit me until now, but I think when we do this little pit stops, you get, like, cameos from other Sega arcade machines. Like, that was a car from Outrun, and I'm pretty sure that in the first one of those that we did, we saw the bike from Hang On. It didn't hit me that that's what that was, but I'm pretty sure that is, in fact, what that was. Speaking of Hang On, I'm reasonably sure I put it on this list as well, even though it was retracted. If only because I'm pretty sure it will be a similar experience to me playing this game. Stage 15. I mean, you can probably use like a long play of this game to try and figure out how, like which of the tracks match which stages, but I don't think that's something that I myself would be able to remember just based on playing the game like this. I'm pretty sure this is the track that's just called Afterburner 2, and I think the only other one that I can consistently recognize is Redout. All the other ones I kind of have trouble trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure that will not be the case if I ever get around to actually practicing them. Reload weapons, which does absolutely nothing because I'm being very stingy and not using my missiles at all. Maybe I can use some of them now. I don't even remember like which button to use them. Yeah, probably a good idea. Oh well. It does make it a little bit more confusing, like which of these missiles are yours and which ones are the enemies trying to shoot you down. I'm not sure I could see the one that hit me there before it hit me. Like this one, I'm not sure what this one is called. I'm assuming it's not the one called City 202 or whatever, because this doesn't look like a city at all, but then again, the way of these backgrounds really look like a city proper, because like maybe some of them look more populated than others, but apparently if you stop to look at structures that you get when they're actually closer to each other, they look more like castles, so I don't even know what's up with that. In a part of the world that has tons of these weird radio satellite towers next to each other, like jungles and savanna, I'm pretty sure this is Redout, yeah. I recognize this one. I think I'm gonna just like shit like cities or at least clusters of buildings in the middle of like a forest jungle type area. And then some of them look like, well, I already said that, didn't I? Some of them look like castles, so where in the world do you get all of these different environments like right next to each other? Let's try to do some critical analysis to try and figure out where in the world Afterburner 2 takes place. Oh, okay, well I'm glad that this thing is doing the flips right along with me. That's very considerate. So you got like a kind of bleak looking forest, what I think was coniferous stuff. And then you get this, which is a very different looking type of field biome thing. So I don't even know what to make of it. And like this part right under me right here looks like savanna even, so like how far are we traveling as we fly this plane? What kind of speed limits are we breaking? Get shut down. I did get shut down. I think I actually got shut down mid-roll right there, even though I thought those gave you like something similar to invincibility frames, but maybe not. Or maybe not all the time. So whenever you are in a situation that makes you panic, just do lots of flips and fire off lots of missiles, but then you'll get hit. Anyway, never mind. I feel like if the time runs out in this game, it's not like gotten me some kind of win condition, then I'm definitely gonna be a loss. Maybe I kind of screwed myself by giving myself all those lives. Because maybe this game doesn't have like a concretely set ending, and it's literally just gonna go on forever until I run out of lives, which is gonna take a long time. I feel like if it does get to that point in about 5 minutes, then we'll have to take license and look into something a little bit to figure out how that's going to progress. Like at least I can see like some castle spires in that last group of buildings that I just respawned near, but I don't know if it's common anywhere in the world to see like a place with that many buildings surrounded by that many castle spires. Well, today at least, or maybe in the 80s when this will come out. Oh, I'm being careful, right? Can't be any more careful than this, but I still managed to get hit by the guy tailgating me. Wonder if I can't do like the same kind of move that you could do in like probably a lot of airplane games, but are actually, but for some reason the only concrete example that comes to mind right now is San Andreas. But instead of doing a sideways roll, you do a backwards roll, so that if someone's like tailgating you or trying to shoot you down from behind, like keeps happening to me. In this game, you can try to get behind them. Oh shit. Stage 23. Did we actually make it to the end? Is that the end? Did we like fly around the entire world and end up back at the... Yeah, I guess maybe something like that did happen. I guess this also resolves the question that I was having the entire time. See, it really is like Top Gun all along. Ties into that weird track that apparently got added to the Ace Combat 7 submission that's apparently a remix from Top Gun. Which is funnily enough another movie that I've never seen. Oh, okay. Okay, well, fuck, I don't know. How do I do this? I don't want that flag to be left in my high score entry. Apparently, I wonder what the hit actually means. Like, total hits that I did? Nah, surely not. I don't know what that hit would actually stand for, but I guess it's time for me to hydrate real quick. I'll leave this completely silent demo playing while I do that. Oh goodness. Thank you for the hydrate, Lambda. I think that a bunch of those are probably still left in the queue. I should clear that out. But there you go. He has taken third place, apparently. You, which I'm imagining is supposed to be a reference to Yu Suzuki. to first place, no problem, because there's probably, I mean, I would imagine that the main thing that you do to get a higher score than that is just don't die. But let's try something a little bit different, because we only got 2 minutes left. Let's put in just 1 credit and see how far that will get me. Time for the actual, the more sincere, more accurate results of how I would do in this game. In a more normal situation. In an actual arcade machine, perhaps. I mean, I imagine that if you have like an arcade machine that you can set up in your own home, you can do like a similar trick to just the emulated shit, which would be set up some kind of trigger to give yourself infinite credits. Maybe things will be a little bit more interesting if I'm forced to be more judicious. How far would I really be able to make it in 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes? And furthermore, till I actually end up losing all my lives in the space of 2 minutes. Well, we're 1/3 of the way there, so perhaps so. I'm gonna see how far, or yeah, how far my score is gonna go under these restrictions. I'm gonna get a better idea of what would actually be expected from me in that situation, like I said. And what would actually be delivered by me. Honestly, I'm really surprised considering how I was doing by the end of that last run that I haven't been shot down like 20 times already, but I suppose my self-imposed challenge in these 15 seconds and whatever may come in the middle beyond is gonna make it to like a 1 all the way at the left, 1 extra digits. Oh, almost. Apparently I've not lost, like my score is not diminished from losing a life, but I make it at least that far before I lose my final life, because that's what I am on right now. Lines up quite well with the actual time limit running out. Can I make it to like, I can't tell if it's 100k or 1 million, I think it's 1 million, yeah. Can I make it to 1 million points before I am forced to? No, apparently not, but I came quite close. There you go. Continue to play? Yeah. I think we're done for the time being. I wonder how many credits it would have actually taken me to get to the end. Like if I'd actually just performed the bribery while I was going through the game and not before I started playing the game, but yeah, there you go. Apparently the lowest score that displays here is like even greater than that. I want to say that 10 million, even more than that, so didn't quite catch out of that. Maybe we can take a look at it again if I let this demo play out. I think it takes you back to like the high score list. If that happens. Let me see. I guess I'm just gonna sit here for a moment to see if that comes up. As I... Well, it does come up, but that's 1 through 7. I'm pretty sure that there are lower ones. Just not show you what those are at all. Unless you get a low score, like the only way to actually see that at this point is to play the game and get a low score. That seems weird. And yeah, there's one of those arcade games that I'm pretty sure does not have... Well, let this animation finish playing out. It is not in fact 1. It is 2. Which you have created by just carving a rectangular hole in the middle of the 1. But I guess at this point, since it doesn't play music, let me bring back the items playlist as well. I will let this animation finish until, well, I'm pretty sure at this point it has to say, I'm pretty sure this doesn't have, yeah, retro achievement integration, achievements integration, even though I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of arcade games that do have that. This just didn't happen to be one of them. But there you go. That has been another one of these streams where I demo a bunch of short games, and sometimes, like with this one and with Commando, I think that's the only two that I managed to do that with so far, but sometimes I even finish them. I technically almost managed to do that with Marvel Superheroes as well, but then the game reminded me that I do in fact suck at fighting games, so... I mean, maybe it could have been like a replay of like when I played Darkstalkers in the technically first of the streams that I did like this, which was quite a while back. But I've now like made a playlist for that in the archives, so it should be easy to find. So I am expecting to do more of these in the future. You also see that apparently there's a clip that ended up in the Chase Discord, so I'll take a look at that later. But yeah, don't really know that I have much more else to say right this moment, so we go just wrap things up, and I think I know what we're gonna do. To end things off here, I am going to go over to the end of the stream screen as usual. And I will briefly mention that I guess I'll try to see if I can keep up something at least resembling the stream schedule that I had for this week going on in the future. Hopefully it won't be a big problem. Definitely have some more stuff left to do that I need to do in my own time, but I'll see if I can make it work with this as well. Probably be easier because it will also be like centered around helping me get a better schedule. So yeah. But what we're gonna be doing right now is end things off by tossing, if I can spell this right, tossing a raid at LP Zelda Gamer, which should show up now, and yeah, I believe it has. Who is live after a bit of a hiatus of her own, but has been like a good friend of mine in the streams for quite a long time. Nice fun person, and currently playing Monster Hunter Rise, which I think she actually started playing on PC just a few days ago. And just kind of going through the vanilla game there, which, you know, kind of ironically Monster Hunter Rise was not really one of the things that I looked at to get for myself again on PC on the sale, because I feel like I had spent enough money on that, and probably wasn't going to end up playing a lot of that myself in the near future, but maybe at some point in the future. But yeah, as of what I am going to be playing for myself on the stream in the immediate future, though. I'll see if next week on Tuesday probably I can finally actually do what I've been telling myself I'm going to do for a lot of what I was looking at this weekend, go back to Thurisha, which, because I think I only have the final chapter of that game left to go, so I could possibly just finish at least the first of the two story modes, you know, spoilers for that game, in one stream, and maybe check out the second one at some point in the future. But yeah, for now, I'll just say you'll take it easy. I thank everybody for coming like always. Thanks for chatting. Always great when other people chat. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for support and all that stuff. And I will see you later.